Welcome to our weekly Forex forecast, and this is for trading for the week of November 18th to the 22nd, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. Okay, so for this week, actually, before we dive into the calendar, one thing to keep in mind here, we heard last week many comments out of White House officials saying that the US and China deal was imminent, it was coming, we're very close, you know. So we have to pay attention to that. If the deal does come through, if they're able to reach the phase one agreement, that will be positive for the risk market. So euro, pound, equity markets, all of these are likely to go up. Yen crosses are likely to go up. However, if it's not, then we could see price, those ones drop. So just pay attention to that. This is aside from the technicals, just overall what's going on in the market. So US and China trade deal is something we do need to pay attention to, because we saw last week, especially on Friday, there were on Thursday, there were some comments, and as a result on Friday, we saw equity markets take off to the upside. They had been stuck in the range for the entire week, but Friday they just really took off after those positive comments. So these comments do drive market sentiment, so we just have to be aware of them. All right, so this week we have nothing important, not too important here on Monday, but we have monetary policy meeting minutes out of Australia. Reserve Bank of Australia is not looking to raise rates at this point. They are holding everything stable. So if the meeting minutes point to that, then I would not expect much of a reaction as a result of that. However, if there is a surprise to either side, if they are more bullish in their forecast, or they expect things to get back on track, that will be positive for Australian dollar. However, if they turn dovish for some reason, which I don't really expect them to actually go either way, but should something happen like that, we could see Australian dollar drop. So we saw Bank of Canada who had turned dovish, whereas we saw Reserve Bank of New Zealand had actually held rates, and their commentary was a little bit more positive than what the market was expecting, and both of those currencies reacted as a result of that. So if we see anything that is out of ordinary with this one, we could see an appropriate reaction to that. On Tuesday here, we have manufacturing sales and building permits here out of the US. So that will be important. We do have FOMC members speaking. I'm not expecting anything out of ordinary there. We did have a whole bunch of FOMC members last week. We had basically what came out of Fed was that they're willing to cut rates if required. So they're just basically, they said the same thing that had been said before. We did not see a big reaction to that. So not expecting anything here either. On Wednesday here, CPI numbers. The CPI numbers, also known as inflation numbers, these are important here because Bank of Canada has already turned a little bit dovish, because they said they actually considered or talked about cutting rates, or if there's a need for that. And if the numbers, inflation number is one of the key numbers that the central banks take a look at. If this number comes out below expectations, that would be negative for Canadian dollar, and we could see Canadian dollar drop as a result of that. Now, we do have FOMC meeting minutes this week here. Based on the last week, they did not really veer from what they had said before. So if these meeting minutes are in line with what was said last week and prior to that in the FOMC meeting, then there shouldn't be a big reaction. However, there can always be unexpected things that come up. So if something unexpected comes up, I am not expecting anything unexpected that's positive. It can be dovish more than anything else. Then we could see US dollar drop, but I'm not expecting too much of a change here in the meeting minutes. We also have ECB policy meeting minutes. So 3 central banks already here. With this one, this one we'll have to see what comes out. They have been holding everything steady. However, ECB has been kind of dovish, just like the Fed as well. So if we see more negative commentary out of them, if they express concerns with the forecast or the state of the economy, whether that's world economy or European economy, we could see euro drop as a result of that. So we need to keep an eye on that. We have Bank of Canada, Governor Poloz speaking. Again, not expecting a whole lot of change here as long as he says what he said last week as well. Now, on Friday, we do have a ton of data here. So overall, we have a quiet week this week in terms of data. Now, we do have central banks, which can always create volatility in the market. But other than that, things seem fairly quiet on the news front. So ECB here, we have a new ECB president. Draghi has finished his term. So with the new leadership here, things can change a bit. So commentary in regards to what the new leadership's thoughts are will be important. So we just have to basically see what they have to say. Euro here, PMI numbers are very important. If they come in below expectations, this is likely to then drop the euro because of below expectations. If they come in above expectations, we will see euro go up as a result. So a lot of volatility for euro here on Friday. And then we have core sales numbers for Canada as well as US here. So overall, Friday expect volatility on Friday. It's a busy day. Let's go on to our charts now. As usual, we'll start off with euro here. So euro had a nice, the week prior here had a nice weekly bearish candle. And it dropped a bit and then it has gone back up. So it looks like a pullback is in progress here. So I will look for, so the candle close for this week is bullish. I will look for price to go up a bit more, potentially into 1.1080 and maybe even higher into 1.1100. So overall, slight bullishness here in euro, but looks more like a pullback than a real change in market direction here. So I'm looking for price to go up, and this is where I would look to see if price holds below this level. So this is an important support resistance level, and then we could see a drop from here. So this is what I'm expecting, but again, it would be at 1.1100 that we'll have to see, does the price stay below that support resistance level? If it does, then I will look for a drop, but if it doesn't, if it goes right through, then we can see price go all the way into 1.1180, right into the top here of this range that price was trading in. So if you take a look at it, it's still trading in this range, and this is the range that basically we've had for the last several weeks here, for 5 weeks. So basically looking for price to move up a bit. 1.1100 will be the first target, and only if it goes through that would I look for 1.1180. So bullish bias here for euro dollar. Pound dollar here, this one has also moved back up here. This one, as we can see, has also been trading in this range. It did try to break to the downside here, but didn't really manage to go further. So here we have a candle that puts us back into this range. So I will look for price to go up higher here as well. So bullish bias here for pound dollar. The first target will be just into the top of this level here, and then looking for it to go up all the way. So bias is bullish, and the target here is 1.300. Now, should the price get stuck at the top of these candles, it can still turn from 29.50, but we'll keep an eye on it. Bias here is bullish for pound dollar at the moment. Aussie here, Aussie had dropped nicely, but then it pulled back up. So in this candle here, we see that price is into the support level here, and this is where it is struggling. So there's a pin in the bottom which suggests there is the price is not doesn't have as much momentum to the downside. As a result, we could see this one go up as well. My bias here is more neutral than bullish. But it can go all the way into 0.6870, and if it holds, then I will look for price to drop from there. So this is the support and resistance level that I'm looking for a pullback into. At this point, bias is neutral, but I am looking for a move higher towards 0.6870. Now, should it get through this level, then this one turns completely bullish, and we are into 0.6930 level. So then I will look for price to go higher all the way into the high of last week. But for now, bias here is neutral, looking for a pullback into 0.6870. New Zealand dollar here, this one has also, this one actually, the Bank of New Zealand came in unexpected. Everybody was expecting, or market was expecting, an interest rate cut. That was not delivered. The Reserve Bank of New Zealand held the rate steady and showed a little bit more positivity than the market was expecting. As a result of that, we saw a New Zealand dollar turn around and come back into this range. As we can see, for last 5 weeks, this has also been trading in this range. So with this one here, we do have a bullish candle. So I will look for a move back into 0.6450, back into the top of the range here. As we can see, this is a strong support and resistance. Price has had drop from here back here, so it's just been stuck here. So I am looking for price to drop from here again. So looking for price to go into the top of the range and then a move back into the range. So overall, this is basically range bound at the moment. So looking for price to go up a bit here. So slightly positive bias for New Zealand dollar as well. Target is 0.6450. Dollar CAD here, this one has dropped. We have a pin bar here for the weekly, so I will look for price to drop further. It is into support, so just be mindful of that. We do need to see a break below 1.3200 for this one to continue, but bias is bearish. Once price gets through that level, then target here is 1.3120 is the first target. And then if it still has that momentum, into 1.3040. But for now, it is bearish. I would just be cautious with the current level it's at. If it has trouble breaking through the support level at 1.3200, it could go back towards the high of this candle, but bias is bearish for dollar CAD. Euro pound here, it has been moving slowly, but it is still bearish. We did see a break below the support, and now it's just hanging out there. So bearish bias for euro pound. We could get a pullback into the support level, support resistance at 0.8580, and then I will look for a drop here back into this major support area at 84.80. So bias is bearish for euro pound. Swiss crosses. We'll start with Euro Swiss here. Euro Swiss has been trading in a range here as well. As we can see, this is the range it has been in for quite some time, several weeks here since this summer, essentially. Now, we did see a move down. We have a large pin here. And as a result of this, I will look for a pullback here, back into this previous support resistance level at 1.0970, and then look for a drop back towards the bottom of the range here. So bias here is neutral. I am looking for a pullback into this level and then looking for a drop. So essentially looking for price to stay in the range that it has been trading in for some time now. So bias here is neutral for Euro Swiss franc. Pound Swiss franc, this has also been just going sideways here, hasn't really done a whole lot for last several weeks, the price has just been neutral. This week's candle close is completely neutral here. No real direction in this one. Now, I will look for price to potentially go towards 1.2850 and then come back into the range. So looking for another range-bound week here, unless something comes out. So if we hear news around elections, for example, the upcoming elections in UK, that can create market sentiment and it can move things in either direction because it's stuck right now. So it is holding on to this sort of a bullish flag pattern here. So we have price getting stuck here. So let's say there's some positive election news that can make it go higher. But for now, it has been stuck for last 5 weeks and it's still here. So unless something positive comes out, we can see this kind of continue in this range. So my bias here is neutral for pound Swiss franc, just looking for a move towards 1.2850 and then a drop towards 1.2680, looking for it to trade in a range. Dollar Swiss franc, this one, as we can see from the daily chart here, this one has also been trading in a range for some time now, several weeks again since our summer. We have a bearish candle here. Prices dropped from the top of the range. So looking for a move towards the bottom of the range here. We could get a bit of a pullback here into these pins on this side and then looking for a drop. So bias is bearish here. 0.9830 is the target. Second target is 0.9800. So bias is bearish for dollar Swiss franc. All right, let's take a look at our yen crosses. Price went all the way into the top of the range here. And if you take a look at the daily, this looks very similar to our pound Swiss franc here. Price has been stuck in this range for some time. It is forming again that bullish flag here, but it's just been stuck in the sideways move at the moment. Now we do have a bullish candle close for this week, so I will look for price to go towards 141.50. This one could go higher. However, it is also into resistance at this moment. So if price does not get through this current resistance level at 148.70, then we can see the move back down. So this is the narrow range that it has been trading in. So if it doesn't get through that, again, it can go towards the bottom at 139.20, but it is a bullish candle and it is looking, it looks a little bit more bullish than this other candle did. So we could see price go towards 141.50. So I would say bias is bullish towards the high of the range, and then we could get one of these moves back into the range. So we'll watch out for that. But right now, bias is bullish and target is 141.50. Euro yen here, this one as well went up on those on the news about US and China being close to the agreement. When that happens, the yen crosses go up because yen, which is a safe haven asset, goes down. As a result, everything else goes up against it. Equity markets go up and our safe haven assets drop. So this is what we have at the moment for our euro yen. So it has rejected our next support level here. So I will look for a move higher towards the top of the range. 121.50 here will be the target. So bias here is bullish. And then we can see this drop from here. So bias is bullish and looking for a move towards the high of the range at 121.50. Dollar yen, this one has just been trading sideways here. And we saw a drop last week, but it's been then also a move back higher. So as a result of that, this is a neutral. This one is also trading in a range, in this little range for some time now. We have a pin in the bottom. This one could go higher again towards the top of the range at 109.50. Now at that point, it is into major support resistance level. and we could see a drop back down, but should things change. So if we hear positive comments out of US and China trade agreement, all of these yen crosses will go up. And equity markets will go up. So that would just be a sentiment-driven move. So we have to keep our ears open for that. So for now, bias is neutral for dollar yen, but looking for it to go towards 109.50. Aussie here. Aussie yen also dropped first, and then we saw this pullback. And as a result, this is what we have. At this point, I would look for a move back higher here for Aussie yen. And so here, so this is where we are. Bias is neutral, looking for a move into the high here of 75. And this is where we run into our resistance. And if it doesn't go through, I will look for a drop. Now, should something positive comes up and it keeps on going, then the second target here is 75.70. So first target is 75, second target 75.70. So neutral bias for Aussie yen. New Zealand yen, this has been trading in this range back and forth here for a number of weeks. This is the range we are in at this point, expecting it to go towards the high of the range. But if it goes through, then we're looking at 70.50, which is the next level here. Bias is bullish here. It is range bound still, so which means it can drop from the top of the range. If it doesn't go through this 70 level, then I will look for a drop back towards the bottom of the range. But for now, it is pushing into the high of the range. And if it goes through, looking for price to go higher into 70.50. So bullish bias here for New Zealand yen. CAD yen here, this one also went up on Friday, like all the other yen crosses. And all of that was just from the comments that came out of the White House in regards to US and China. So in this case, this one also has a pin in the bottom. So I will look for a move higher here. In this case, the first target would be 82.80. If it doesn't go through, I will look for a move lower. But should it go through, looking for it to go higher into 83.20 and potentially into the top of this pin here. So at this point, neutral bias for CAD yen. All right, so now let's take a look at our commodities here. We'll start off with silver. Silver here, we had a huge drop the week before. This looks like a pullback here. It is into resistance at the moment. So we could see a drop here. So first I will look for a move higher to retest that 17.10. If it doesn't go through, then I will look for a drop here. But it does have a slight bullish bias here. So it could, if it goes through 1710, I will look for a move towards 1740 here next. But we just have to be cautious because all of this right now is being driven by US and China trade negotiations. So silver and gold are another safe haven assets, and they react when we hear those comments in regards to the trade agreement. So keep an eye on that trade agreement. If it goes through, it will be negative. We'll see a drop in both silver and gold. However, if we don't get any news about that, that means they're not as close as we would expect or as the market is expecting them to be. And in this case, we are likely to see a push higher then. So here, just looking for a retest of 17.10 first. If it goes through, 17.40, but otherwise I will look for it to just drop into the 1660 level and just be range bound here for this week. Gold here, same thing, gold pulled higher, but then it is struggling still. So at this point, we do have this move higher, but it doesn't have a ton of bullish momentum at this point. So we could see a move higher into 1481, but I would just be careful with this one. Same thing here as we saw in silver, looking for a bit of a push higher into 1472. If it doesn't go through, looking for a drop there, but should it go through, this one could go slightly higher and then do that. So basically looking for a bit more of a move, but bias here is neutral. The candle here is not solid bullish, so just be mindful of that. Oil here, oil has been bullish here. we see that price has gone up. It did retest the bottom here, but then has gone up. Now, this one looks like a bullish pin bar. So bias is bullish, looking for a move higher here. Next target is 58.50. And then we have 59.70 level, or 59.80. So bullish bias 58.50 first target, 59.80 is the second target for oil. Copper here has pulled back a bit. It dropped nicely last week, but then we are into support now. So this is where price has pulled back. We could see a move higher here. First target here will be 2.62 and then 2.65. So bias here is basically I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback here. So not quite turning bullish on this one, but looking for a pullback and then a drop. We just need to see where the pullback happens. So whether into 2.62 or into 2.65, because this has also been trading in a range. So expect it to stay in the range. So this is the range that we have seen for the last 4 or 5 weeks here. I'm expecting it to stay in this range. So looking for a bit of a move higher in copper. Bitcoin here has dropped. I haven't looked at today's price move here, but this is looking bearish based on the weekly candle here. We could see a drop further towards 76.90 here. Now, if the market sentiment, equity sentiment is positive, then I will look for a continuation of this drop. Should the market sentiment turn for equities markets, this one is likely to turn as well. So Bitcoin has been acting as a bit of a safe haven asset lately. So I will look for a turnaround if the equities markets turn, but if they continue to go higher, this is likely to drop. So overall bias here is bearish for Bitcoin, and the targets would be to 8,000 and then 7,700. So bearish bias for Bitcoin. All right, so let's take a look at equities. Equities just pushed higher. As we can see, price has just been going. It's into all-time highs right now and still pushing higher. So it went all the way into this 3120 level. Now, next one will be 3150 and then 3180. Those are the levels I would watch here, but it is looking bullish right now, has a lot of momentum to the upside. I'd be careful though. It is at all-time highs, and anytime things are at all-time highs, it's being driven on market sentiment more than anything else. So the US and China sentiment, positive sentiment that's being created. So I'd just be careful with that one, but it is bullish, and I will look for a move higher. We could get a bit of a pullback and then a move higher. Target is 3150 and then 3180. So bullish bias here for S&P 500. Nasdaq here also looking bullish. It finally broke through this range that it was trading in and now is looking bullish here. It's gone through the top of the range. So at this point, I would look for a pullback into the top of the range and then a move higher here. So bias is bullish. Our target here would be 83.30 and then 83.50. So bullish bias for Nasdaq as well. Dow Jones here, same thing. We saw a move higher on Friday on the positive US and China comments. It was trading in a range for the entire week before it moved higher. So now this one is looking bullish, and then we're looking at 28,000, actually 28, I would say 28,100 is what I would target here next. But we could get a bit of a pullback before it moves higher, so just watch out for that. Bias is bullish though for Dow Jones as well. All right, DAX here is still trading in this range, but it's holding the high. So we could get a move higher. This is sideways at the moment, so neutral bias for now, but it is bullish overall. So neutral to bullish bias is what I'm looking at. 13,300 will be the first target. 13,400 is the second target for DAX. FTSE here, this one is still trading in this range. We're looking at a daily chart. So as we can see, price has just been stuck here. At this point, I would look for a move higher towards 73.50. If it doesn't go through, this one could drop. But the next target here is 7,400. So 73.50 and 7,400 will be the targets. But for all equity markets, I would just pay attention to the developments in the US and China trade negotiations, because those are really, really important at the moment. This one here, our Nikkei here, is looking bullish here. We saw a rejection of the support here, and we have a slight move higher. So I wouldn't say completely bullish here, but I will look for it to go higher a bit at this point. So next move is into 23,650 level. Sorry, 23,635 level. If it doesn't go through, then we can see this one come back into the range. But should it go through, next target would be 23,800. So 23,635 is the first. 23,800 is the second one. So bias here is a little bit more towards the bullish side. So neutral to bullish is what I'm looking for Nikkei. But again, before I wrap up, just make sure we pay attention to the to our developments for US and China. All right, so we talked about a lot of targets. If you would like a spreadsheet with all the targets and the market directions, you can go to tradingwithvenus.com/forecast. And once you subscribe to it, you will get the forecast with the spreadsheet in your email. If you have already subscribed to it, you don't need to do it again. You will receive it from me automatically at some point today. So that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful trading week, and I will see you again next week. I also forgot to mention, I do daily market analysis as well. So if you're interested in that, you can go to my YouTube channel. It will be uploaded there every single day. So that's it for now. You guys have a wonderful trading week, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.